What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today when I talk to you about Hologram, I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what's been really happening with it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. Hologram's down 35.2%, $6.56 the low, $10 is the high, and 10 million shares being traded for is the average. I was actually meaning to do a video yesterday when it went up 72.19% yesterday. Unfortunately, I was unable to do that, but in reality, I've done a weekly video on Hologram for a very long time. I've covered every single one of their playbooks, so yesterday was anticipated. I even posted on my Patreon because I saw some abnormal volume during the pre-market, and I said that it was a buy. Unfortunately, I didn't really call the peak. I kind of mentioned a good exit was roughly going to be around that $9 range, but it went to $11.82. But nonetheless, the writing's on the wall. Hologram is very predictable. Unfortunately, what is really prompting me to do this video today is because you have still a lot of delusional investors. And in my opinion, as I've alluded to, I think it's just they're too delusional, meaning that they have some ulterior motive, meaning they might be paid, such as this individual, 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧. So they posted yesterday, up to all the HOLO haters who called the company a scam. Check out this midday screenshot. Even further, based on some of their responses, saying going up 75% in one day isn't a little correction, and ultimately kind of give some other explanation on why yesterday was a screaming buy and all the other crap. But at the end of the day, as I've mentioned in the past, there is a hell of a lot of notes that need conversions, and ultimately a lot of the kind of note holders can only have at any one time 9.9% of the float. And logically, as I've mentioned in the past, I don't know how some people can still argue with me because there was 54.4 million shares being traded alone yesterday. In theory, that's higher than the float. So for those of you saying that there isn't dilution, I think you're just part of that delusional group, which in reality, I've called them out many times in the past. Still, there's always people in the comments saying, nope, dilution isn't happening and all the other crap. But anyways, ultimately, a lot of those note holders can only have at any one time 9.9% of the float. So what ends up happening is they dilute, and a lot of that is due to the interest payments, and that's converted to common stock. So they fill up, they get their 9.9%, and then what do they have to do? In order for them to dilute and kind of capitalize on more of it, they have to dump what they have. So today, you are essentially seeing the dump. And I guess if you want to call it, yesterday was the pump, today is the dump. There's a lot of this that does happen, and you can always refer back to previous volume spikes. Every single time there has been a abnormal spike that causes like a 40% green day, that is associated to dilution. No other explanation. The only bad thing is, as I've mentioned in the past, this only works essentially if you have retail buying. And unfortunately, a lot of individuals such as 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧 and maybe some others here that I'm not really familiar with, they are, in my opinion, their purpose is to lure in more retail investors, get them to buy, and then they get left holding the bag. So I think at the end of the day, this stock, still the writing's on the wall, and it has been on the wall for a very long time. And the fact that they did 54 million shares in volume yesterday goes to show that more than one note holder did dilute yesterday. So I think in reality, the next issuance, once we find out the new outstanding share count, which will be a good solid like 5 months from now, at the end of the day, it's going to be detrimental. So let me know your thoughts on Hologram. I know this isn't the news that people want to hear, but honestly, I'm not here to sugarcoat. I'm not here to pump the stock, nor am I here to get you to sell. If you believe in it, if you're as one of these individuals, so the 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧, then buy more. I'm really could care less what you're doing. I'm just bringing up what a lot of these kind of convertible notes and products in general, not just with Hologram, but in general, what that does to the stock price. So everything is predictable at the end of the day. So let me know your viewpoint on Hologram. For those of you that do believe that this is a squeeze, based on this, it does show 22.53% of the free float is being shorted. That works out to be 860,000 shares. Cost to borrow average 207%. Basically on today, you do have shorts returning 213,000 shares, which again, if you don't know, by them returning, that's adding buying pressure. Once again, reconfirming that there is entities selling today, aka the note holders. Everything, it's very, very predictable on what is happening. But like I said, some people want to believe what they want, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to believe that this is going to be the next moon, honestly, more power to you. Just as long as you make money, right? As long as you make money. I really wish yesterday though, in general, Hologram did have options. Still, they do not have any options. It shows this right here, but this is all the pre-existing one. As you can kind of see, there is no options chains or anything. I really wish that there was, because I would have easily bought puts. Last time they did have one of these crazy spikes, I decided to buy a ton of puts and I made, I think it was like 300 something %. Let me know your thoughts on Hologram. Do you believe that dilution is happening? Do you think something big is happening and that's why maybe there was that level of volume? What's your general thoughts on Hologram? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon where I do give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. So definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.